Good evening here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel. I'm Joel McCall, and we are speaking with Nahmie George tonight. I don't really know why, because it's not like he has anything to say, but actually, we're just kind of previewing the fall sports season, as well as talk about our donation, our sponsors overall. Nahmie, it's crazy that we're going to be starting the 2024-25 sports season, the athletic year. And, I know that you and I certainly would love to be doing football tomorrow night. Unfortunately, we were not going to be there for Wanakee, but man, I'm ready to get this thing off and running. And I'm so glad we've already had some coaches interviews.
It's such an exciting time of year, Joel. I know why you had me tonight on the broadcast, and that's because people want to know that I'm still involved. It's been you doing all the stuff. I haven't done anything yet. I went dark after baseball and haven't really done anything. So we got to make sure that our viewers know that I'm still around. Otherwise, we'd lose viewership. So we got to make sure that the viewers know that I'm still around. But what an exciting time of year the fall season is. Kids had registration today at Central. And so getting back into it, Sam just showed me his ID card, his student ID card. And yeah, football coming up tomorrow night. And we will not be broadcasting, but I will be there, of course. I'm not going to miss any of those games. And then volleyball next week. And just a lot to look forward to. A really exciting time for Central High School.
Boy, there's a ton going on already too. We talked to Coach Williams. Well, I talked to Coach Williams last night. Talked to Coach Olson 2 nights ago, and so they're already gathering and getting ready. However, you think about girls golf, they've already been out on the links, and they are already participating and doing stuff, which is crazy to think about. But because I think they had an invitational today, they were out at Sparta.
They pretty much go every day. I know that because Coach Buxton is the coach, and I called him on Tuesday to go golfing, and he said he couldn't. He had to go coach a meet. So his season is in full swing right now. We got to get him on for an interview, and I'm going to talk to Sienna Folkers as well, probably their number one golfer, and we'll probably do that about once school gets started and I have access to the kids a little bit more. We'll start getting some student interviews back up, student athlete interviews back up. That's my favorite part of this whole thing, and so I'm excited to get the kids back in school and get them back on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and do that with volleyball when we're there at the matches, of course, too, and get Coach Williams up. And Coach Olson and I will be talking weekly, and you're gonna do a lot of those student athlete interviews, of course, and you'll probably have some other interviews up your sleeve, as I know I'm trying to work on a few of those as well. I do want to make mention of girls tennis is also going. I think they have their big. I think it's like 15 schools are coming to the La Crosse area coming up on Friday. That's to start their big tournament. So don't want to forget about that. And then boys soccer, coming off a great year last year. And I know that you and we spoke last week trying to make sure we had our ducks in a row as far as equipment, making sure all the stuff that you broke, we replaced during the spring season. But we also want to do more with soccer, and you're planning on doing more.
Yeah, last year was exciting. And at the end of the season, we found out that girls' playoff soccer match that we are able to stream from Fields for Kids, which opens up a whole new uh, area of possibilities for us with soccer. It felt like the soccer teams were kind of getting the short end of the stick because we weren't able to cover any of their home games. That is no longer. We got up on a picnic table, and when I got home, I watched it. It's not perfect. It's not like you're up in a press box, but you can follow along and watch the game, and we can get those kids the recognition they deserve. So we are definitely going to be doing boys soccer and girls soccer this year more than we have in the past.
Yeah, and I'm really excited that you're able to do those things because I won't be. Some of those games are early, so I can't make it there. Some games are the night the same matches are going on with volleyball, so we're going to try and double stream. You said they weren't perfect. Well, of course they're not perfect. I wouldn't have set it all up anyway. So no kidding, it ain't perfect.
Well, I had Alex Heiderscheid as my color commentator.
Yeah,
He did a pretty darn good job. So
I heard some very good compliments about that, considering they also said that it seemed like Nami didn't know a whole lot about soccer and
hey,
relied on somebody else. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you are supposed to do
you
as a
find the people
play-by-play
that know.
man. Yeah,
That's right.
exactly. Try,
Yep.
don't put it all on your shoulders. That's for sure.
Well, if it's just me talking about soccer, it's going to be a pretty empty broadcast. I can tell you that. But I'm learning. The more I'm broadcasting, the more I'm learning.
That's how it was with me for wrestling too. I didn't know a
There
whole
you go.
lot when I started, but I know a lot more now, and hopefully we can do that in the fall or in the winter too. little bit more wrestling, we do have to talk about our sponsors. We have a great list of sponsors this year. It is amazing what we've had as far as the response. We're still waiting on a couple of them, in fact, because so we could even have more after this interview takes place. But the one I do want to make mention, they were with us last year. They were Consolidated Energy, is who they were sponsoring last year. This year it's Matthew Construction, and they decided to be our number one sponsor. So when you see us come on the air, when we broadcast volleyball coming up on Tuesday night, and then any other broadcast, you're going to see that Matthew Construction logo right there on the front, and they're going to be with us all throughout the year. They're our number one sponsor. I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, what a great partnership. And you can't say enough about the people at Matthew that are they're putting up the money so that we're able to do what we love to do, and we're able to get the recognition to the students at Central High School. And it's just a credit to what they do for the community, and we are very, very grateful. You mentioned equipment breaking. I think you said I broke the I don't remember breaking any equipment. But when equipment does fail us, when equipment does fail us, we have to be able to replace that in order to keep our broadcast going. And so having that sponsorship allows us to be able to keep things going the way they are and improve as the years go on.
Yeah, we're gonna have some improvement. We might even have to buy one more camera sometime during this or during the season, so we can get everything we want to do and accomplish during our double streams that we're planning on doing. The LCBA is back with us, as well as the Booster Club, Alumni Association, all those that are right there in the school district too. I know you were kind of working with them.
Yeah, I mean, what great partners, and it works for them because they're reaching the audience that they're trying to reach. The Booster Club has the school store, and so they're able to advertise their hours and when you can stop into the school store and buy Central merchandise, and also talk about gaining members for that Booster Club, which is such a vital organization in our building for Central Athletics. And then also the LCBA, the work that Coach Ferget does with the LCBA.
Yes,
They've been a great partner for us, and it's a chance for the LCBA to talk about dates for when things are due for sign up, and when is this camp and when is that camp. And so what you might see this year, and I was talking to Coach Buxton about this a little bit, you might see the ads changing throughout the year as
they
the
should.
time of the year changes. And I told Josh we can easily do that. And so instead of just one stock advertisement that we see all the time, we're thinking of changing things up, and that's available to any of our sponsors. It takes me a little bit, but I can figure it out, and you can change up your ad if something's starting to get stale. So
Yeah,
yeah,
then
we're
they
we're definitely grateful to have LCBA and the Booster Club with us again this year.
Yeah, and the Alumni Association helping us out too. And then you got Dan Stacy back with us again. So is Ryan Schultz. And then Games People Play is also with us. Munson Realty. These are all the businesses that were with us last year. Really appreciate them. And then we've got some new ones. The one that you worked on for quite a while was Pettibone Resort. So they're with us this year and came in as a new sponsor. So is B&E Remodeling. That's another new one that's just hopped on. And then Schilling decided to come aboard too. So we have a lot of new sponsors too, and we're so grateful that they are able to, open up that checkbook, realizing what we're offering too. I think that's the other thing that some of these businesses are realizing, wow, this is what I get for the amount that I'm spending. This is worth it.
Well, Joel, we did 103 broadcasts last year, and I'm going for more this year. My goal last year was 100. I beat it by 3. My goal this year is 110, and with our ability to do dual streams, I think we can get there. So, that's 110 throughout the course of 9 months. That's 110 times that your business is going to be shown on the screen multiple times throughout a broadcast, to sometimes thousands of viewers, depending on what kind of game we're doing. And so it's on us as viewers and on us as broadcasters to make sure we recognize those sponsors by giving them our business. And so when we need insurance, go to Ryan Schultz and Associates. When you're looking for a new house, go to Dan Stacy Realty. When you're looking to rent somewhere, go to Munson Realty, and help those places out because they help us out.
Yeah, that's for sure too. And games people play, you can get all that
Yeah.
great merchandise for about the Central Riverhawks. Don't buy anything else, just Central Riverhawk stuff. Um, and then what we should talk about, that's really the main things that we wanted to hit on was our sponsorship, just kind of talk about what we're planning on doing for the year. I also do want to a little bit of a preview of football and especially volleyball too, because we've already talked about them. And those are the two that we're going to know more about. You're going to see a lot more at the boys soccer later on. We'll have Buxton on to talk a little bit more about golf and then cross country too. You got don't forget about them too. So, but football, man, that was a big group of seniors that they lost last year. And I know that Coach Olson discussed things, especially on the defensive side. And you would know a lot about that too, because your son was part of that very good core of defenders that they had last year. It's a big senior class that's leaving, and they go down to Wanakee, who we know is going to be a powerhouse, just like they always are.
Yeah, it's gonna the first two games are really tough. Ellsworth is a very good football team too. So I think we as fans need to kind of take these first two games with a grain of salt. I know Coach Olson is planning on winning those games, and the guys are planning on winning those games. But I think it's going to be about growing as the season goes on. As you said, there's going to be a lot of new faces in places. It's going to take a little bit of time for that cohesion to develop. Zach's group. That group had played together for years and years and years, and so by the time they became seniors, they had that defense pretty much figured out. It's going to take a little bit of time to make that happen this year, but I'll tell you what, I get to do the PA for the freshman football games and the JV football games.
Right.
And let me just tell you that just because you haven't heard a kid's name on at the varsity level very much does not mean that they're not ready for varsity action. And I heard Coach Olson talk about a guy like Charlie Seehafer. Charlie Seehafer is a football player, and wait until you see him. He's somebody that if you just watch the varsity games, you don't know much about. He pops out. I remember watching him at the JV level, and his game pops out at you. He's ready for that next level. And there's Isaiah Walker's a good example. Isaiah was somebody that we saw limited time, really. Every time he was in last year, and that was because they were so loaded on defense, but every time he was in, he made plays. I mean, this kid is ready to go in there, and then they have good returners as well with, Upon and
Hanson.
Lucas Hansen. Those guys are. I think they're going to be okay. It might be a rough start. You got Wanakee right away in Ellsworth, but I think they're going to be very competitive. I'm excited for the football season. I know they lost a lot. I know that. I know they lost a lot of talent, but they also have a lot of talent ready to replace that lost talent. And so I'm excited for the football season. I think they're going to be good.
Well, I think obviously with Alvarado out for a while, again, we don't even know his status as far as moving forward. But that offensive line, that's where the key is if they can continue to score points, move people around, then you don't have to rely so much on that defense where it's, turnover city last year where a lot of picks, a lot of
Hmm.
interceptions last year, got some big fumbles, especially remember that Logan game where they got
Hmm.
that fumble late and that kind of secured things for them. Maybe you don't have to rely on that defense so much because that offensive line is so good and the trio of backs that he's going to have this year with Rude and Shepard. And then he also mentioned Gabe Service being back there. So, they're going to run the ball. They're going to be right at you. They're going to smash mouth. And I think that offense will certainly help out with the limited amount of returners on the defensive side. And then Coach Williams talked a lot about yesterday, last night, as far as volleyball goes. They didn't lose a lot of players numbers wise, but they lost a lot of offense because
It
of
says,
Ruby
yeah.
Gearhart, because of all those swings that she had last year. And so, of course, I was all concerned about who's hitting on the outside and everything. I was, telling Williams that even before we started recording. And it sounds like they've got a good game plan. They're a lot like football, though. This first start, these first 2 weeks might be a little tough because they're trying to work on their rotation. But after that, if they can nail that down and then they don't need Freed to set, that's going to be the biggest key of the entire season for the Central River Hawks. If Freed can be up at the front line and swinging, they have a good shot at making a run here at the MVC, at least being highly competitive in the conference.
Well, and she mentioned Ellie Gillitzer as somebody that they're looking at to be that setter. We saw Ellie on the basketball court and the softball field. Ellie is a fantastic athlete. I'd take my chances with her. Give it a try. That allows you to put Freed on the outside. Freed can play. This group of seniors for volleyball, we've seen them now. This is the third year. They came up really early that sophomore year. They've got a lot of varsity experience. You got, Aaliyah and Sierra and really all of them. That group. It's time for them to shine now, and I'm excited for it. Ruby took over games last year. I can
Yes.
think of particularly that Sparta game that went 5 sets. She took that game over and won the game for them, in my opinion. She just dominated. They kept setting to her. She kept putting it down. They're going to have to find somebody to fill that role, or somebody that's going to step up when times are tough. But I feel like they have the pieces in place to do that. It's just a matter of who's going to do it. I like Sierra Freed. I like Aaliyah Shield as options for people to step into that role.
Yeah, completely agree with you on that. And then Ella Crawford, the deer in the headlights won't be there anymore.
And
Then we know
she's
we saw that last year a couple times in the middle where maybe the game was a little too much for her because of being a freshman, stepping up in that big middle role. Now having a senior kind of with her with Shield, I think that's going to help a ton too. And Crawford's just going to get more and more swings too and get more and more comfortable. And as you said, with Freed, she can work a six rotation now. And then obviously you can run Erickson back there the entire time too. So they're libero. I mean, I can't say enough about Erickson and how much fun she is to watch on the defensive end because if there's one girl that I want to watch work, it's her on the defensive side.
it's the effort she puts out, and it's on every single play. Just if you go to a volleyball game or you're watching one of our streams, just keep your eye on her. She's wearing a different color jersey. It's easy to see. She just flies all over the place. She doesn't always get there, okay, but
Right.
that doesn't stop her from trying to get to every single one. In fact, I remember at Toma last year, she ended up with a black eye because she went diving after one and hit somebody else. And I mean, she's just all over the court. A lot of fun to watch. You mentioned Ella Crawford. I don't know if I've ever been more excited for somebody's sophomore season because of what we saw her freshman year. I can remember saying multiple times that she's going to be a problem in the NVC. She's going to still be a problem in the NVC. She is a dominant middle player, and I'm excited to watch her take that next step up.
Just can't believe how much changes there is with all the coaches in the MVC and so many new people that we're going to see throughout the year. What do you remember about boys soccer from last year, and what do you think about this year?
Well, I mean, I remember Wilkerson, who obviously was all world, and so he's gone to graduation now, and so that leaves quite a void. You're going to have to fill that in with somebody. I like watching the boys soccer team. I think they give great effort. I think Coach Lyons does a great job with those guys, getting them to give everything they got. I think somebody like my buddy Alex Heiderscheid is somebody that's going to step up. He was a freshman last year, played some varsity minutes. Now with Wilkerson gone, there's minutes that are out there to be had. I like Alex Heiderscheid to take a big step forward. I know he plays year round. He's traveling the country playing in tournaments. I think he's ready for that next step, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad that you had a player that you could highlight and kind of talk about. Obviously, it's your buddy, so he's probably like the fan of the game half the time when we're on the broadcast too. And I
Well,
just
I got
can't
I
pick
got
that
lots
up.
of buddies on that soccer team though. Caden Lyons is an awesome kid. You know
Yeah.
me, I like all those guys.
Yeah, they're going to be fun. I'm glad that you're going to be able to call a bunch of their matches that's going to be coming up for the fall season. Man, you said 110, and I'm thinking, are we going to be able to do that? But I think overall, I mean, especially if somebody takes a deep run in the postseason, we'll be at those. But I do think because of what equipment we have, the ability to do two games at one time, and we figured that all out. I really do think that that's going to be possible. And then
Well, Joel, you understand next week we have volleyball Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and football Thursday. So that's a good
yes,
start of our 110.
that's true. We're going to have about 10
There
broadcasts
you
in 3 days.
go. See,
And I didn't know this prior to the interview with Williams because I don't think we talked about the schedule. Did we last
I don't
night?
think
I
so.
don't think we
I don't think
did.
so.
So she sent me that afterwards, and yeah, it's insane that we're going to be covering so much. I'm so grateful that Dana is not working because there's no way that I'd been able to do this without it. But we're gonna start like I think it's noon Wednesday, and pretty much run through the entire afternoon. And then we have 9 a.m. Thursday. Plus, then if they are really good, they can move up to the Onalaska gym. So then we got to pack up everything, take it over to their gym, finish the tournament, and then haul over to UWL for football. So I
We're
didn't
back,
tell
baby. We're back.
I didn't tell Coach Olson this, but I'm like, man, I hope you have all your stats and stuff in there by like Friday afternoon because I'm going to be working on football Friday night, Saturday, and then going to have to bail on them completely to work on volleyball for like the
Yeah,
next 3 days. So
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it though. That's a great start, and it's pretty cool that we're able to do a tournament. We're not going to be able to do any other tournament for volleyball throughout the whole year, but at least we get to do the one that's essentially in the backyard.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's going to be cool to see. As you heard Coach Williams talk about, she kind of uses that as a chance to kind of mess around with lineups a little bit and look and see what players can do, and that'll give us a chance to look and see, hey, there's somebody that we didn't expect stepping up, or yeah, see, I told you Ellie Gilitzer would be just fine. I think that's how it's going to go, and that'll give us a chance to see what this season. I know they have an MVC game on Tuesday night, but that'll give us really a good glimpse of what the rest of the season is going to look like for that group.
Yeah, with so many matches right away. Then we'll actually have a break too. If I remember right, we won't have anything after football for almost a week. I think it's almost a full week, and then we're back that following Thursday and then Friday for football again. Nahmie, I'm so glad that you're back with us, even though I gave you such a hard time. I didn't even know if you were going to talk to me after that burn I gave you on Twitter, but apparently you're over that by now.
Hey, you came at me. I came. If you're gonna shoot, you better hit me.
Oh, I did. I did.
Okay.
That nice satire article that we were joking on about. But your team does stink. You already know that every team stinks. So that's
Super Bowl this year.
yeah.
You watch those Dolphins. We'll ask Frankie what he thinks.
No, I don't need to have another dolphin on
We'll
this
we'll ask
channel.
Frankie. We'll ask Frankie what he thinks. I'll interview him. We'll ask him. We'll see what he thinks. We'll
You
let
have
him
to
be
have a
the tiebreaker.
bipartisan voice if you're going to ask somebody what they think the
Frankie
Dolphins are going to do. He's
Frankie is
not a
some
bipartisan.
Frankie is somebody that I trust. I trust his opinion. We'll see what he thinks, and we'll go with that.
No, let's ask Buxton. How about that? That
He's a Vikings fan. He don't know anything.
That's true too. But again, neither do you. All right. Well, we're going to get off of here for the clown hour, and we've got a lot going on next week. It's going to be such a fun year. I'm looking forward to talking to more coaches, doing the volleyball next week and football. We wish football the best tomorrow night. And Nahmie, have fun traveling down there. Make sure you're hitting Twitter once in a while to keep me updated on the score and stuff too, because I may not be able to watch the whole thing because I'll be here yet. So I'm not going down there to see the game. So I do think they have a stream. I don't know whether we want to like post that somewhere so that way people can watch it. I have no
It's
idea.
been going around. I don't know if they charge for it or not. I don't want to make any promises that way.
I don't either.
And it's going to be Wanakee students doing it, so you're going to get a real homerish broadcast, but at least you'll be able to see video. You should be used to muting the streams when you watch us anyway, so you can just mute it and watch the video.
No, they only
But
mute half the time. See,
well,
they've got it
good point.
programmed now that when Nahmie speaks, it goes mute. When I'm back on, they're like, "Oh, business as usual." Okay, now a professional broadcast.
You mentioned Twitter. I'll tweet for sure quarter updates.
Okay.
If people want to follow me at Nahmie_G. And I'll make sure that we have at least quarter scores going on there.
Yeah, and
I'll
I know
try and do
Mark.
more. I'll try and do more than that. I'm going to help out Coach Olson with some videoing or filming or something. So I don't know exactly how much time I'll have, but I'll do as much as I possibly can.
Okay, yeah, we appreciate that. I'm sure Mark will be out there tweeting too, and he'll be down
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
tomorrow night. So, all right, Nahmie, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Do appreciate it. We'll get to see you on the stream at on Alaska Tuesday to start our officially start our play-by-play year.
Let's get it, Joe. Go Riverhawks.
All right, sounds good. I'm Joel McCall. That's Nahmie George. Thank you very much for tuning in here on the Central River Hawks YouTube channel.